The exiled prince was banished from his kingdom years ago after a coup d'etat led by his own uncle, the now King Alaric. Having fled to the neighboring kingdom of Aldoria, he has spent the intervening years training in secret for his one chance at revenge, to take back his birthright and punish his uncle for his crimes. But can the young warrior really overcome all those who oppose him and claim the Iron Throne? Or will he be forced to watch as Aldoria conquers his homeland? Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I am the host, and this is The Exiled Prince, Book 1 of The Broken Crown. Now, there are a lot of stories out there about princes being banished from their kingdoms or going into exile, but I think what really separates this one from all the others is that this story starts with the prince already outside the kingdom walls having been banished since childhood. So the bulk of the book takes place during his exile, where we see the prince known as Kieran train under a secret identity and prepare himself to someday take back his kingdom. So, without further ado, let us begin our foray into the world of Terra Incognito. We open on a young man named Kieran sparring against a burly swordsman twice his age. Their weapons clash together as they trade blows, and the old swordsman stammers back, impressed with how well his young pupil fares against him. As he recovers from his momentary surprise, he goes back on the offensive and forces Kieran to play defense. And it quickly becomes clear that despite his skill, Kieran is younger than most of the men he trains with and not as strong or as fast yet. With a loud grunt, the swordsman knocks Kieran's weapon away and pins him down. And though Kieran manages to reverse his fortunes by knocking his opponent off balance and sending him sprawling into the dirt, he still has some ways to go if he hopes to match the strength of his mentor, a grizzled veteran named Torvin, who trained for years under the legendary Aldorian general Marius. As they rest after their grueling practice session, Torvin warns his pupil that brute force won't always win the day and that strategy and tactics are equally important. He emphasizes the need for Kieran to control the battlefield, not just dominate it through sheer force of arms. But as Torvin imparts wisdom to his student, we learn that Kieran's true identity is far more regal than his rough and ready appearance would suggest. For he is none other than the former crown prince of the kingdom of Alder, whose family was overthrown in a coup led by his own uncle, King Alaric. With his power base inside Eldoria, Uncle Alaric has also formed an alliance with the neighboring kingdom of Faldor, and together they have subjugated many of Erelon's former allies. But while Aldoria and Faldor grow stronger, Erelon is left weakened and vulnerable, which is why many believe that the best course of action is to flee rather than fight. However, Kieran refuses to accept his fate and plots to take back his kingdom with the help of his foster father, Torvin, and a small band of loyal retainers. Though to do so, he will have to first earn his mentor his full trust, an understanding of the strategic and tactical demands of war, something that will require patience and time. And with that, our introduction to Kieran is complete, and it's time to look at some of his character traits. I feel that Kieran's greatest strength is also his greatest weakness, and that is his pride in his birthright. While it gives him purpose and motivation, it also blinds him to the strengths and weaknesses of his allies and enemies. As such, he often makes decisions based on emotion rather than logic, which puts him and his companions at risk. However, his bravery and determination never waver, even in the face of impossible odds. Now, regarding his appearance, he is described as being tall and muscular with long, messy dark hair and piercing blue eyes. I imagine him looking like Henry Cavill, or maybe even Kit Harington. And as for his personality, he is a bit of a hothead and struggles to control his temper at times. But he is also fiercely loyal, honorable, and compassionate towards those less fortunate than him. Overall, I think he is a well-rounded character whose internal conflicts make him all the more relatable. Moving on to the supporting cast, we have Torvin, Kieran's foster father, and mentor, who is a wise and experienced warrior, though he can be a bit too cautious for Kieran's liking. We also meet Ayla, a cunning and resourceful woman who becomes Kieran's love interest, as well as Gareth, a skilled archer and tracker who provides much-needed support to the group. There are also some intriguing villains introduced, such as King Alaric, Kieran's treacherous uncle, and Marcus Valerius, a ruthless Eldorian general who commands the forces of Eldoria and Faldor. All the characters are well developed and add depth to the story. In terms of world building, I found the author's depiction of medieval Europe quite immersive. The attention to detail in describing the clothing, weaponry, and societal customs was impressive and really helped me visualize the setting. The magic system is also interesting and adds an element of unpredictability to the story. Although the plot moves at a steady pace, it picks up significantly in the second half of the book when Kieran's plans start taking shape. I found myself on the edge of my seat during the battle scenes, which were well written and exciting. The ending is also satisfying, tying up loose ends and leaving me eager for the next installment in the series. However, I must admit that I did have a few issues with the book. At times, the dialogue felt a bit stiff and unnatural, which took me out of the story. Additionally, some of the characters could have been explored in greater depth, but these are relatively minor issues and did not detract too much from my overall enjoyment of the book. In conclusion, The Exiled Prince is a fantastic start to the Broken Crown series. With its engaging plot, well-developed characters, and immersive world-building, I highly recommend this book to anyone who enjoys epic fantasy or coming-of-age stories. I am definitely looking forward to reading the next book in the series and seeing what adventures await Kieran and his companions. So, what do you think of Kieran and the world of Terra Incognito? Are you excited to see more of them in future installments, or do you have other stories you'd rather me cover? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Until next time, stay safe, stay awesome, and keep reading. Bye.